It's a fool's hope. No, we're not talking about starting a Star Wars show on YouTube. We're talking about the Star Wars Rebels episode because episode 14 dropped on Monday, and it's the second to last episode ever of Star Wars Rebels, and we're talking about it right now in this moment with you. I'm David Amalotti, one of your hosts. Joining with me is Jesse Buck, and Jesse has never been more excited, I think, to do a video for our channel because these back-to-back episodes were pretty spectacular. And of course,
they really were.
We are going to do episode 14 here. You'll be able to catch our review of the series finale in our next video. But right now we're talking about the Rebels regrouping on Lothal. And essentially what this episode is about is making that plan of we're going to go into the capital city. We're going to free Lothal. First, we need to make sure that we have the resources that we need. Really, we need to lure Governor Price out of the capital city. And it's actually a really smart approach to this. They have Ryder fake a betrayal of the Rebels.
Well, that's the cool part about this. This was a plan that only Ezra and Ryder, I think, knew about because
Ryder is Edie, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, because there's a point to where they're unquote captured by Governor Price, and like Sabine's body language strongly suggests that they actually didn't know about this plan, that this was like completely just between Ezra and Ryder, and it works beautifully.
Yeah, I really liked it because they got me for a split second. There is this moment where Rook ends up showing up to try and clear house, and there's like that moment where he looks towards Ryder, and Ryder just kind of walks off. And at that moment, I thought, okay, he actually is a turncoat because there's no way Rook would let him walk away if he wasn't. So I bought it in that moment, but it was nice to see Ryder again flip it over on Price, and the whole idea is that he and Ezra knew that she wouldn't resist the opportunity to come out and try and save the day and save her skin to report back to Thrawn. So I really liked how that dynamic worked. It was fascinating to see that hologram pop up on Governor Price's desk, because you see Ryder pop up, and it's like the first 3-4 minutes of the episode, and you're just like, this is how it's going to start. He's going to turncoat, and this is how they're going to start dying. I mean, I was saying in that moment, I'm like, all right, Rex is dead in the next 10 minutes because he's going to be, it's going to happen, and that did not happen. I was wrong, but I really enjoy how Governor Price has gotten to have her kind of final swan song in this episode. She comes on out, and they bring 5 gunships. And like you mentioned, how Sabine was surprised about Ryder standing up and suggesting that he had betrayed everyone. They are all sounding surprised that the Empire is on the way. They've got 5 or 8 security ships coming out there to blow things up. What did you think about that battle? I love the battle. It's essentially what this episode was this skirmish in the hills.
For me, it was seeing Sabine kind of dominate the air with jetpack combat and everything, because we had jetpack troopers, and she's just destroying them,
left and right.
Yeah,
she's double fisting with the pistols.
Yeah, I mean, she is just phenomenal to watch in combat. Just there was a lot of great things, man. I could go all over with this episode because even prior to that, just everybody seemed like another great moment. I'm frazzled brain right now.
I can tell you're a little frazzled. While you're regrouping your thoughts, let's talk about the maturity that we've seen through some of these characters, because I think that really shined in this episode. First, Ezra and Sabine, they have an early dialogue together, and I thought that was interesting just to see emotionally how these two have kind of grown, and there's this recurring theme of...
Would you say they're kind of unofficial?
There's been moments where you think something will spark.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're baby making. More on that in the next video. But, I've always wondered, and it always kind of leaned that way. You knew early on that Ezra had a thing for Sabine, but there is definitely a deep connection, whether that's more of a brother-sister relationship, how friends can be that way, or it could be something romantic. But there's, a few times Ezra said, "I'm counting on you," and so it's interesting to see that maturity between those two characters, because Sabine, she was an artist, she was a rebel, she was a spy, she was this rogue Mandalorian in the beginning of the series, and to really see her arc was exciting. And I also think Zeb, because Zeb in this episode does a lot of the aerobatics A lot of jumping, a lot of leaping, things that we saw him do early on in the series.
Feats of strength is what you see out of Zeb. One in particular, he picks up the heavy powered cannon and everything and just completely goes ham.
Lights up the troopers and the
ship. And it's just like, yes, that's like a good Zeb moment, and it's just like something that like you kind of remind me of like some of the scenes in the Clone Wars and everything, like the heroic moments and everything. So that's actually like I have a list here, which is basically all my favorite moments.
What's next on your list?
For one, seeing Wolf and Gregor again, and I'm loving the fact that they commandeered one of the AT-ATs from a previous season and kind of turned it into like another like fishing vessel, kind of thing.
That better not be a Lego set. I really don't want that to be a Lego set.
I would totally buy it.
You're ridiculous.
The other thing was when we do see Rex for the first time in this episode, he is sporting a very familiar helmet.
Yes.
Battle
of Endor helmet.
Got me really excited and everything because of something that Filoni had said at Celebration, and and it's just kind of like, yes, please.
Well, the thing about that was so interesting is, and first off, in this moment, it's not confirmed that he's that rebel guy. But he looks an awful like him.
Yes.
We know that there was that rendering that Dave Filoni had released of Rex actually in the rebel garb from Return of the Jedi, which was really cool. But then there was like this rumor that no, that was just that's not official yet. That's not official.
It's not official.
But Dave was like, I'm going to make it. He didn't. Say
when I saw this, I really felt like it was a lot of foreshadowing and everything. So we'll circle around back to that. And then my other favorite moment here is after they spring the trap. Because we think that we have this big betrayal from Ryder,
right?
And then it's not. It's actually like Ezra's plan and everything. The ghost swoops in. Hera drops Wolf, Gregor, and Rex out, and they just like open fire, classic clone style, and that was fantastic, And so now like the Imperials are like, oh my god, what's happening, and everything. So that last bit of moment, and then like Ezra uses the Force and his connection with the Lothal Wolves to kind of turn the tides, and of course they capture Price.
Yeah, it was really well done, and I love the moment where the three clone troopers jump out, because I really felt. It was a great throwback in a way to the Clone Wars, seeing those three alongside a Jedi.
Well, and they're using classic clone weapons, too, so it was like, yes.
And they seem to be more efficient than the Stormtroopers, which is just laughable. Just laughable. I do want to mention Rook comes out and kind of assists on the attack.
Yeah, he's a very dangerous individual.
He is, and I think, Jesse, I know you've had mixed feelings on him in the past, but I think you gain a lot of respect for him in this episode just because of how physical he is and how much of a threat he did pose to Ezra multiple times in the episode.
It's it's a love-hate relationship. Like, I love the character in the sense of what he's there, the purpose that he serves and everything.
Right.
But I hate the character because of what he's responsible for. Like, if you think about it, he's like, because he's that ultra, sense of smell, he smelled, the rescue, when they were coming in to get Hera and everything. And essentially he held them up, which if he hadn't been there, Kanan may have survived that attempt, So it's kind of like, that's where the hate for the character comes from, is like, he's just that good that you hate him, in his skill set.
And he almost gets picked off in this episode by Ezra because there's that moment where they're battling on the one side hill and he falls off the edge.
He tends to get thrown off edges a lot. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, but then he catches himself. He always climbs back up. That's a trend. I also, real quick, I did like seeing the moment of force growth for Ezra as far as that he makes that big, nice force jump at that one point, and that's always exciting to see, is because really until, like, you saw Luke in Return of the Jedi make that leap up to the walkway, and then in Phantom Menace you saw Obi-Wan make that huge jump up to try and catch Qui-Gon and Maul, but visually just seeing Jedi really, it's not just a jump, it's almost like they are able to float or levitate. Pretty cool to see that in that moment. So a lot of real gems in this episode.
Yeah.
It just was a 21-minute setup, and I guess if there is a con to this episode, that's it. But I think it's necessary because you're getting truly a 90-minute finale to this series that we've grown to love over the last 4 years, and it was really exciting for them to spring the trap. They knew what was going to happen with the governor, and now they're going to use her as leverage to get into the Capitol in the hour-long or 40-minute long series finale episode. So I think that's it for that episode. Have we missed anything? I feel like
I think we covered that
we
pretty
covered
well.
it pretty effectively.
I would give it a 10 out of 10. You know, kind of your standard Rebels episode, but the action, just the setup for, you know, the final climactic end to this fantastic series. I think this was a fantastic episode.
It was a fun episode. Let us know what you think about A Fool's Hope down in the comments below. And have no worries, if you want to watch our recap, our breakdown, our favorite moments, really, of the series finale, episode number 15, we talk about a reunion and a farewell. We'll break it down in the next video. You can watch that right now on Beyond the Blasters. We'll pop the link up right now.